We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome to our school board meeting. And we appreciate all of you here tonight. And we will stand up for the prayer, and then Dr. Cristobal O'Connor will introduce our young person that will lead us in the pledge.
Good evening. Let us bow our heads, please. Dear God, it is our prayer that we use our words to build others up, encourage beneficial relationships, and create environments that promote change and unity. We recognize that words can make a difference, especially in the life of a child. Therefore, when we speak, let our words change our educational landscape in this community with words and phrases such as, "That's incredible," "Amazing effort," "Your help counts," and "Thanks for going the extra mile." Help us all to make a difference as we build these positive relationships that create great models for our children. We now so humbly request these gifts and abundant blessings. Amen.
Tonight it is my great privilege to get to introduce someone who recently introduced me in his school and welcomed me there, the president of the student body, Denver Luke Cummings, fifth grader, who is not only the president of student council, but always an honor roll student. He loves playing sports and wants to be a brain surgeon when he grows up. And he has an absolutely lovely, wonderful family here with him tonight. And of course, Ms. Boggs, who does such a great job of leading the way for him and others at Bryson. So would you please turn and say the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to bring the family and Dr. Cristobal O'Connor and the superintendent, and we're the family. We're going to go right through, and I want all the school board members right behind us. Because if you're going to be a brain surgeon, we got to remember you. Come on up here. Everybody up here. Should we do that? Hey.
No, he's kind of short.
This was you? Who's going to do all three? Oh, God. You're going to jump, okay? One,
Yeah.
2, 3. Awesome. Okay. All right. Come on, Robert. Mom's going to be
I really can't see him.
Stand in front of everybody.
All right. Squeeze in just a little bit on the edge. There you go, perfect. Okay. Miss Grayson, step to your right just a minute. There's a really tall person in front of you. 3-foot elevation didn't help. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Let me switch phones. What is that noise? Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thanks. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
We'll see you then.
Don't be in here. Yes, absolutely. Brain surgeon. I think have some Furman students out there. I think one of them is a chemistry major. And will y'all just raise your hand from Furman? I know y'all are here studying. All of y'all are in a lot of very diversified disciplines. We appreciate the educators who we pay well at Greenville County, and we encourage you to come to Greenville. We love great teachers. And chemistry, good luck, whatever you decide. I told her, I said, never know, you could come up with the right, I guess, dose of taking care of this coronavirus and that we're all reading about. Hopefully it won't last long. And then we have students from Wade Hampton High School. So raise y'all's hands. Go Generals. And where else? I know I see a couple of new faces. Did I miss any schools that I did not mention? Okay, with that being said, we will, yes. Yes.
I would like to recognize the father of the little boy that just said the Pledge of Allegiance, and that is Mr. Ken Cummins. He is a Simpsonville City Councilman right over here. And thank you, Ken, for your service.
I should have known that when I saw that pink tie, that he was a city councilman. Thank you so much. I love that pink tie. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented. Do you have a motion? Mr. Suddeth, and a second. Ms. Bush. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed? The motion carries. At this time, I will read to you because we will have the appearance of visitors. If you would be so kind as to indulge in this information. Welcome to those who have signed up to speak tonight before the Board of Trustees. And thank you for your interest in Greenville County Schools. Before we begin, let me remind everyone of the following procedures. As each speaker's name is called, he or she should proceed to the podium at the end of the board dais, where there is a microphone and light system. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes to speak to the board. The light will be green. 3 minutes. The light will be green. I just lost my place. For the first 2 minutes, and will turn yellow when 1 minute remains on speaker's allotted time. In keeping with board policy, KCA, abusive language or personal attacks aimed at students or staff members will not be permitted. All speakers are expected to behave in an orderly and respectful manner. The board will not engage in discussion with the speaker or respond to comments. The superintendent will designate a member of the staff to respond to each speaker in an appropriate and timely manner. At this time, Ms. Wells will introduce each speaker, and when she calls your name, she will tell you where to proceed.
Yes, our first speaker tonight is Randy Dunn, so if you want to step to the dais there at the front, you have 3 minutes to speak. Welcome.
I'm Randy Dunn, and I reside in Travelers Rest, South Carolina. I was a product of the school system in North Carolina, and I went to a public school 11 years, last year to a Christian school, and then I went to a liberal arts school, university, for college and university. My question is, just to give you a little bit of my background, I'm just curious as far as parental or taxpayers' involvement in the school system. It's very critical. First of all, it's the parents that actually have the responsibilities, that should be taking the responsibilities working with the students. And it's so encouraging to see this family here having such a vital part in their son's family. It's sad that it's not the case in many situations, and as a result, critical issues in our country and in our state, such as cultural, moral issues, I would like to know where those are derived and taught to our school system, and then also what kind of parental or taxpayer involvement are we able to sit in at classes. I know in a lot of places you're not able to, across our land, that is. I'm thankful that Greenville County is not typical to many places in our country. So my question is, Is there opportunities for parents and even taxpayers? My kids graduated last year from homeschooling, and I'm thankful for my wife. They speak 2 languages. They play 8 instruments. They even play with the Greenville Symphony. Phenomenal, the care that we have involvement in our kids. And that's why I'm thankful for this family here from a public school situation. So my question is, are we able to have input in our schools? There's a lot, and I love the way y'all have demonstrated this. It is very important, the life of a child. You are teaching them moral and ethical and spiritual principles, whether we know it or not. And it will influence them for the next generation. And there are a lot of cultural issues that are going on in our country that we're going to really be facing in the future. And have to be careful about Christian involvement and church and state, so to speak. Although you can't mix them, your faith and your morals are going to be reflected. But my question real quick is this. Is there any way we can have involvement in the school system and setting up appointments and sitting in classes and such?
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. So the board's policy is that we don't respond to speakers. It's not part of our agenda, that we can have somebody from the district follow up with you and answer your questions and give you some feedback.
Okay, so I can, that's all I really wanted to know, what avenues I could take and if I could get that.
Yeah, we will. We'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second speaker is Alex Lebowitz. I hope I said that right. If you'll come to the dais as well.
My name is Alex Leibowitz. I'm a parent of a 4th grader at A.J. Wittenberg, and the reason I am here is to get in contact with someone maybe about the early start time for next year. I feel like parents have not been included in this decision. As far as I read on the website, it's all about what the principals have said or concluded, and I feel that maybe there should be like a survey for parents, teachers, bus drivers to give their opinions about this. And I also read on the website, like they keep mentioning middle school and high schoolers need time to sleep, but also elementary schoolers do. A lot of people at our school drive their kids, so we're already having to leave way early in the morning to get there on time. Even some teachers, they live 45 minutes to an hour away and come to work at the school. So we're also not including their opinion as far as like daycares not being open on time to get their own kids to daycare before they come to work. And yes, that's my thing, is just find out about the early start time.
Thank you. Our third speaker is Mr. Bob Davis. Mr. Davis.
I wanted to speak to you a little bit about the idea of sustainable development. I have an article here. It's been published a year or two, and it's talking about sustainable development, the root of all of our problems. People in America, most of us today, do not know what's going on outside of our own immediate family, pretty much. In his book, Earth in the Balance, Al Gore warned that a wrenching transformation must take place to lead America away from the to lead America away from the horrors of the Industrial Revolution. The process to do that is called sustainable development, and its roots can be traced back to the United Nations policy document called Agenda 21, adopted at the UN Earth Summit in 1992. Sustainable development calls for changing the very infrastructure of the nation away from private ownership and control of property to nothing short of central planning of the entire economy. often referred to as top-down control. Truly sustainable development is designed to change the way of life. This is communism and socialism. I got this out of Hawaii about 3 or 4 years ago. Someone was kind enough to send me a magazine, and I didn't know that Mr. Tom DeWeese had written so much about it, but I found this article that backs up exactly what he says. Control. The ungodly, as a famous Quaker once said, only the godly people can avoid control by the government. It says you must be governed by God or you will be ruled by tyrants. Our whole nation, everything that we're being taught today is Marxist communism, and it wants to control the people. They want to tell you how much to eat. Look at the housing that's being built around there. How much to eat, how much temperature you can have, how much water to drink every day. Just like in the Chinese and the Russian and the most horrible societies of the world, even Islam, they'll treat you like you're a dog. And that's what's happening everywhere, and people don't know it. But the Bible, like Mr. William Penn said, men must be governed by God or they'll be ruled by tyrants. So there's one verse in the scripture I want to leave you with today. It says, the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. In that one verse, it sums up the whole problem of our world. They do not want Jesus Christ to be their God and their Savior, to tell them how to live their lives. They want to make their own morals up. That's what's going on today. I'd like to finish a little longer, but the problem is it's getting worse. And I have an article that's in the internet. Let me finish this sentence. I'll finish. And it says that we're all being forced into becoming serfs of the society of the government. All slaves. That's everybody's
Thank you.
future.
Okay, good.
Our next speaker is Mr. Tom Mowbray. Did I say that right? No, please correct me when you come to the microphone.
It's Tom Mowbray. I'm a parent of 2 daughters that also attend A.J. Wittenberg, and I just wanted to speak to you about the early start time proposal as well. I had asked the question and gotten some response back from on the questionnaire on the website. Basically, it ended with, we're trying to do this to help those that ride the bus. And I guess I just have some questions or need some comments about how many people ride the bus in Greenville County as opposed to car riders, because I work in the car line pretty much every morning at AJ, and there's at least a dozen cars that come in after the bell rings, and that's at 8 o'clock. So you're figuring on even more than that, it's going to be late, starting 15 minutes early. And also, I guess I just wanted to see too, if we got future brain surgeons here, that maybe we could figure out another routing issue or something, because there's twice as many elementaries as there are middle schools. Are we doubling up buses now in elementary schools, or does every elementary school have its own bus? I guess it's just questions like that from an outsider, to me it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If this is the best issue, the best way to resolve the issue, then so be it, but I don't know that that's the case. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Leventis Wells, that's all of our speakers for public comment tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. I would also like to thank Ms. Bush for these beautiful roses. It almost reminds me of the flowers that my husband did not give me on Valentine's Day. But he made up for it at dinner, so that was good. But he said, Ms. Bush will be bringing you some red roses, Linda, not to worry. So I'd like to thank Ms. Bush, and also like to thank, I'm in the doghouse now. I'm glad this isn't on TV. Anyway, like to wish Dr. Crystal Ball Connor happy birthday. She celebrated her 6-year-old birthday. And if you reverse the numbers, and there you go. So thank you. And at this time, I will ask Dr. Royster for his superintendent report.
Thank you, Ms. Leventis Wells. Good evening.
Before I get into the report itself, I do want to recognize two principal appointees. They actually were appointed at the special call meeting prior to the Committee of the Whole earlier this month, but traditionally we ask our new principals, new administrators to come to a nighttime board meeting so that you might see them, be introduced to them. We have one more that will come as her schedule permits, coming in from out of state. But tonight we want to recognize Wallace Cobbs, who is the newly appointed principal at Welcome Elementary School. Wallace, if you'd stand. Wallace is currently the assistant principal in that school. He served both in our district and two other districts, been a teacher and an administrator, and probably a product of Greenville County Schools, if I recall correctly, Wallace. And you have some family members with you, if you want to introduce them.
Yes, I have my parents with me, Billy and Control House.
We're pleased to have you with us tonight, and Wallace, congratulations on your new appointment. We look forward to your continuing your leadership at a little higher level at Welcome Elementary School. Appreciate those things that you have already done to contribute to the success of the school. Look forward to great things from your leadership there. Congratulations. We also have with us the newly appointed principal at Westcliff Elementary, Beth Farmer. As with Wallace, Beth is currently serving as an administrative assistant at Westcliff, has been very instrumental in a number of, particularly the outreach programs that they've done at the school. She is a graduate of our Aspiring Principals Institute. We look forward to her leadership and continued in the same way at a little bit higher level as a principal at Westcliff. Beth, I believe you have someone with you as well.
I have my husband, John Farmer, with me tonight.
Who's also a district employee. Congratulations, Beth, and to both of you. We look forward to your continued success in these new roles as principals. You know, it's an exciting opportunity for you to become a principal, and we're excited for you and look forward to your leadership. Congratulations again. My principal's report, superintendent's report tonight, has to do with some honors and awards. So I want to start just briefly. We want to go through a number of recognitions that have been attained by our employees and by our schools. But I want to start with this one that's in front of me. And this is the F. Ben Haskew Award from the Greenville Chamber of Commerce. We were recipients of that award last Thursday night. And I will not read the entire thing, but I will read to you the narrative from the Chamber of Commerce. It's one of about 7 or 8 awards they do for the community at the Chamber's annual meeting. The F. Ben Haskew Collaboration Award recognizes leaders who display progressive visions and a partnership approach to responsible growth in the upstate. With more than 77,000 students, Greenville County Schools is committed to preparing and supporting youth in our region for future success. The district's signature initiative, Graduation Plus, focuses on providing engaging opportunities for students to earn college credit and/or industry certifications prior to graduation. Strategic partnerships with business and community affiliates such as Michelin provide students with mentors, sponsors, supplemental educational materials, and work-based learning opportunities, developing graduates who are both college and career ready. Through a new initiative, Launch GVL, GCS has partnered with the Greenville Chamber to connect high school students with paid work-based learning opportunities, which is tangibly building the talent pipeline and strengthening workforce talent in Greenville. The on-track partnership with the United Way of Greenville County is a community initiative with 4 high-need middle schools to ensure students in Greenville County stay on track toward high school graduation. This is quite an honor for our district. It is reflective of the commitment of this board. It is reflective of the commitment and the hard work of all the employees in the district. And for those of you who have been within our system for a long time, or been in the Greenville community a long time, it is a seminal point in our relationship between us and the Greenville Chamber of Commerce, which has truly become a partnership reflecting positively not only on our community, but providing numerous opportunities for our students that we would not be able to provide without the support and the engagement of the Chamber. So we're extremely proud to be able to share with you tonight the verbiage around that award and the opportunity for you to see that award. You all know those things that are going on, but it's always great to have an outside group recognize, particularly one so vital to the success of our community, to recognize the tremendous efforts and work that's taking place within Greenville County Schools. Well, that reflects, as I mentioned, the positive work of a whole lot of individuals. And I want to share with you very quickly a summary of some of the recognitions of our individuals and our schools from the beginning of the year to date. You see there, Malden Elementary, Lighthouse School, Leader MD. Woodland Elementary, 2020 Palmetto's finalist. Now, we would hope that perhaps in a few weeks that might be moved from finalist to perhaps recipient, but we don't yet know that. League Academy, Capturing Kids' Hearts, National Showcase School nominee, National School to Watch redesignation. Beck Academy, National School to Watch initial designation, and Capturing Kids' Hearts National Showcase. Sevier, National School to Watch initial designation, and Recognize American School Counselor Ramp Model Program redesignation. You all will recall a number of our schools have been designated as RAMP schools, recognizing our strong counseling program available for our students. Sterling School, ASCD, Whole Child Award. Plain Elementary, National PTA School of Excellence. Palmetto Gold Awards. Palmetto Silver Awards. I won't read all those schools, but you see the tremendous number of schools recognized there for their improvement in student academic achievement and attainment. Schools throughout the district, representative of each and every community in the district. Members of this board. Chuck Sailors, who I think is perhaps stuck in an airport in Kentucky and was unable to be back here tonight, but serving as the South Carolina School Boards Association state president. Lisa Wells is SCSBA Region 15 Director. Michelle Goodwin Cowell, the State Regional Director of the Piedmont region for the SCSBA Black Caucus. District level honors. Again, we talked about the Ben Haskell Award. Joe Urban has just been recognized as a 2020 Education Week Leader to Learn From. Tremendous national recognition, and what is most noteworthy about that, it is highly unusual for anyone that's involved on the non-instructional side of a school district to be recognized as a National Ed Week Leader to Learn From. Of course, you know he's recognized earlier this year by the South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association with a Leader in the Public Sector Award. Daryl Nance, who's present in here tonight, National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association Award of Merit. Dr. Scott Turner, who's seated there on the front row, 2019 South Carolina Association of School Administrators Lifetime Achievement Award. It's a tremendous recognition. With more yet to come. He's not at the pinnacle of that lifetime achievement. Still working hard every day. We'll see if we can get him another one of those before he retires. Dr. David McDonald, the 2020 Dr. Randy Wall Distinguished Service Award from the South Carolina Association of Middle Level Educators. Scott Reimer. Now, unless something happens between now and Saturday, they rescind this. Saturday, he will be named the General Educator of the Year from the South Carolina Council for Exceptional Children. Rhonda McEwen, the 2019 Support Employee of the Year Award from the South Carolina Association of Pupil Transportation. Rob Rhodes, the 2019 College Access Champion Award from the South Carolina Commission on Higher Education and the College Board. Rhonda Rhodes, the 2019 National Distinguished Principals Program representing South Carolina, the National Association of Elementary School Principals. Benjamin Sennett, Greenville Middle Academy, Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science. Philip Say, Bonds Career Center, Mechatronics Teacher of the Year, South Carolina Cade Association. Caroline Terry, Monarch Elementary School 2020 Children's Education Foundation Teaching Excellence Award from Furman. Mary Beth Bowers, Secretary of Travelers Rest High. She is the President-elect of the South Carolina Educational Office Professionals Association. Cheryl Reynolds from our Service Center out front, Education Office Professional State Membership Recorder. Deb Bloom, A.J. Wittenberg, 2020 South Carolina School Counselor of the Year. Upstate Parent Educators Who Make a Difference. Upstate Parent Educators Who Make a Difference. You see that list there from those schools. Also a list of our recent Golden Apple Award winners from WYFF TV. Congratulations to all of these people, but I thought it was important tonight as we recognize the receipt of this award from Greenville Chamber to recognize some of the stellar accomplishments of our employees, all of whom, of course, go towards those collaborative efforts that have brought us this kind of recognition in our community. And that recognition, more important than the recognition itself, but the affirmation that we're doing the right things and providing the right opportunities for our young people and helping to ensure a successful future for our community. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Royster. We do have greatness happening in our district, and thank you for highlighting that for us tonight. Action items 5.01, innovative course approvals. Recommended motion from the Committee of the Whole to approve the proposed local board courses as presented. Coming from the Committee of the Whole, it needs no second. So any discussion? Ms. Wells.
Thank you, Ms. Leventis Wells. I guess when we talked about this at the Committee of the Whole, I asked a little bit about the film Crit 2 class, and I want to just follow up because I think Mr. Williams was not in the room, so I asked a couple of questions that weren't answered. So I guess...
He's sitting right there behind...
Yeah, he wasn't here 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
I did misunderstood.
So I guess I just want to kind of understand, as we're approving innovative courses, knowing that we're working toward the college and career ready, and we're trying to develop and strengthen our pathways, is this film crit course, we've joked about it for several years, about do we really need to be teaching film and watching movies in school? And so hopefully this has got a little more meat in it, but is it part of a continuum from the standpoint of the CTE, college and career ready, toward a career path with the arts, AV, and communication cluster, or is it sort of just a kind of one-off standalone thing?
No, I think you really actually answered your own question in your question. When you talk about arts and career cluster, now Jeff and Eric can speak more specifically to that. On looking at it first on this highest level, if you look at the profile of South Carolina graduate, if you recall back that display, it has at the right side some qualities and opportunities moving forward, and several of them deal with communication, media, those sorts of things. So it fits within the profile of the graduate on actually the overview of the graduate. Most specifically within there, it goes towards a couple of career, probably more than a couple of career pathways that have to do, if you might think of media relations, if you think of public relations, if you think of video as part of social media and those opportunities in the corporate world for social media exposure. So directly in those career paths, and again, they can speak more directly to that. It also goes with our desire to ensure that we're providing opportunities in the arts that don't necessarily go towards a career or even college readiness, but that help to build and provide a well-rounded opportunity for students. So every course we teach won't go into a career framework, though most all of them do. We will still teach others that are of interest and are helpful in building a well-rounded graduate. But these specifically go towards career pathways. Jeff, you and Eric want to elaborate on that?
I'll just say from looking at the depth of the syllabus and then looking at some of the past, we've got the Greenville Tech. If students should choose to pursue this, it does fit in the arts and communications realm of the career clusters. But then also looking at graphic communication majors, visual arts majors, or world cinema majors from ultimately Clemson, but from Greenville Tech marketing communications, it fits also into that piece. And I think, as you mentioned already, looking at the syllabus, while certainly films is part of that, they're doing a lot more critical thinking and problem solving in that as far as creating storyboards, some of those skills that will transfer actually to other areas outside of that career cluster. So that was one of the pieces that English, particularly when they reviewed this, saw this as it's an English elective. It does have to be it is an elective though, so it would be a fifth course for students. They do have to take English 1 through 4.
Would it be a fifth or sixth? Does it not have a prerequisite for film?
It would be, yeah, for them it would be 6. If they're taking both 1 and 2, they would have ultimately 6 English credits, 2 of those being electives, yes.
Okay. So this is at J.L. Mann that's being offered, is that right?
There's film criticism ones offered in a couple of different schools, but J.L. Mann's the one to put forth their recommendation.
So does that align with, Mr. Williams, does that align with kind of, I guess every high school is supposed to have at least 3 career clusters that they're offering a continuum for? Is that part of that alignment, or are you involved in that at the school level?
To answer your question, yes, I'm involved in that. Film crit is an English elective. Career and technical education deals with a very specific kind of subset of classes. This does not fall in a career and technical education pathway for a completer. That doesn't mean it's not a pathway towards a career path, but for CTE specific completers, film crit is not in there. It would be more similar to creative writing or speech that fall in those English elective classes.
So are we actively working on in that realm of arts, AV, communication? Are we kind of just allowing that to be? It's something that's kind of in the core of the English and the fine arts. Is there a way to connect all that so that you can have more of a continuum?
So there is a digital media pathway that's involved in CTE, and we've developed that pathway at Wade Hampton High School, and we're starting that pathway at Woodmont next year, in various places. This particular course does not fall into those pathways.
Does it, could it, what does that take to make that a career? I guess if we're approving innovative courses, I'd like for it to really support the whole college and career ready piece.
Well, the pathway, the career completer pathways are determined by the state.
That's correct.
I didn't do as good a job articulating this on the front end. I wanted to pull it back up to read it specifically. As you all know, everything we do and everything done in the state is based on the profile of a graduate. Let me read to you the world-class skills. The profile of the graduate, the main theme to it is 2-part: world-class knowledge, world-class skills. Here are the skills: creativity and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving, collaboration, teamwork, communication, information, media, and technology. This hits on every one of those. So while it might not go to a completer course, it goes to the core world-class skills that we've said in our state and in our district are those things that are the skills students need to possess to meet or fit the profile of the graduate. So while it might not fit in a career completer, and on a lot of the things we do don't fit into a career completer, it does fit with, and students could move forward to Greenville Tech to their
communications or marketing
program.
Certificates
and that's a certificate program.
I think that's a certificate of communications.
Of course, all those things that you mentioned are things that we are also wrapping into all of our core English classes as
Certainly,
well, right?
But this fits directly into that. And we do not seek this, nor would we want it to be in lieu of English 1, 2, 3, or 4, or AP English. That's not the intent.
Okay, so then just remind me when we've got innovative courses that we approve every year. I guess you guys keep a running list, and remind me how you evaluate the class, the use of the class, how the rigor of the class.
So for the ones, particularly for the honors level, there's a rubric, the guide for the honors level that the state has, and we have to collect those artifacts and keep those on record. Certainly, my team for the core level classes, we monitor those for, as we're in schools monitoring, and we have benchmark assessments that we can measure against and all that. For any elective course, the arts, the band, PE, all those kinds of things, those will be monitored by the school, typically by the principal, assistant principal, occasionally Mr. Reimer, or Dr. McDonald, if they're, as they're in the schools to monitor elective type classes as well. But primarily that's going to fall to the principal and/or the assistant principals as they're in those classes, because they would hold them to the same standard. A lot of our elective classes don't have state standards, and so they literally would be looking at the syllabus to guide what they're supposed to do in that class. And really, they're looking at good teaching, rigor, what the kids are being asked to do, because to your point, we want critical thinking, problem solving, engagement, rigor. We want all that embedded in every class, doesn't matter if it's band, music, PE, whatever it happens to be. So they're looking primarily for those general skills in classes that may not have standards.
And are y'all realigning, if we approved an innovative course 10 years ago, are you guys looking at those every year or so, or 3, and making sure they're still aligned to what our strategic plan is and what our latest roadmap for educational standards?
So certainly the ones that have state standards, yes. Those are reviewed, particularly every time the standards change. We have to reevaluate, we have to redesign all those classes, obviously. For electives and content like that would be part of the school's responsibility to continue to do that, given the fact that we have several thousand courses out there totally in high school. So certainly the specialist, this one would particularly fall under English. So certainly as my English specialist is out there, this would be part of her observations and schedules as she's walking around for English 1 through 4. She'd also be popping in on journalism, newspaper, those kinds of courses as well.
Okay. So kids that are taking this class, it's going to be kids that are deliberately interested in that realm of trying to incorporate those skills into the critical thinking and the graphic applications.
Yeah, I would think it would be, yes, the students that would be interested in pursuing, whether they pursued at Fine Arts Center or later on in certainly college, or the digital arts path as Eric enters, because I certainly think this could be a gateway to pique kids' interest in the digital arts path that he talked about earlier. So yes, I think there's a lot of variety of ways kids could go after they take that course, but through the registration process, just like everything else, students would sign up for that course based on their interest.
And I would imagine, Jeff, and I think you made that point just then, we didn't make it earlier, that would be one of the few elective type courses offered at the regular high school that might lead or cause a student then to pursue the course that's certainly aimed directly at those who want to make a profession of this at the Fine Arts Center.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. Mr. Lewis?
How many students are currently in Film Crit 1 at JLMAN?
At JLMAN is 148.
148?
Yes, sir.
And so 148 students are taking this as their 5th English class?
Yes, sir. Well, at least their 5th English class.
Or at least their 5th English class. And so this would be potentially the 6th English class for a number of these students?
Could be, yes.
What's the process for a class showing up on the innovative course approval? Like how does it go from a teacher's idea to being presented to the board?
So typically the process is that is that me? Typically the process would be that the teachers would, or students, a lot of times it's generated by the students as well, but during the IGP conferences when we're having with students, a lot of times that's where interests are coming up, sometimes from the students. From the teacher side, they would bring it to the principal or administration first, their assistant principal or principal, and then from there, the principal has to sign off on anything that comes to our office for consideration of approval. And then at that point, it goes to the whoever the experts would be in that area to look at it.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone, Dr. Cristobal O'Connor?
Yes, I'm sorry that I don't remember it exactly the way we talked about it last time, but I thought you said that in order to get English credit, this would be for people who are like moving in from another place, kind of like an exceptional use that we might have rather than a routine elective that we would be introducing, because I thought that we were kind of moving away a little bit from some of those electives that we thought were less hands-on, less relevant to all the pathways, not just for career, but just all the curricular innovations that we have going on. So to add that in, I thought your answer was this will help people who might be coming in from another district and would need an extra English credit. But so help me understand, was that the same course we were talking about? Because I didn't like it being kind of an English credit either. I'm glad you're saying
It's not an English credit. So there are times their credits align from kids coming outside the state particularly that don't have as clear of a path as English 1 through 4 in those. But for South Carolina, for the graduation requirements, they're required to have 4 core credits in English. So while that doesn't always translate easily from other states, they were still required to have 4 core, and this one would count as the 5th elective if they chose to take it.
We don't generally want students taking this in lieu of English. That's not our purpose.
Correct.
So maybe to say it a little bit differently, there are courses that are approved, that are electives, that are approved by the state to count as an English credit. Journalism, yearbook, dependent on the way it's structured.
Yes.
Drama, still?
Not anymore.
At one time, drama was. And now this course and the precursor. You don't ever want to use them except you on occasion get students who transfer in that by some oddity of what they transfer with, and this is becoming a little more common than it used to be. You get them in perhaps as a senior, and to get them graduated, you've got to get them something that you can't fit in their schedule some other way. So it might be used in that purpose. This would be that's like a last resort when you can't figure out a way to get them into English classes.
good. So even
would not be routinely used for that.
Allow routine use, we will not.
No, because it's not the best preparation for students.
Right, I agree with that. And also, I remember, it was a long time ago, and I know that's not how we do things now, but there was just sort of a joke that a lot of times students would go into these film classes and get a little nap and just kind of, it's just much more passive learning, a break in the day kind of thing. And I remember saying, asking some of the people who were bringing that as an innovative course back then, well, how will you know, prove to me basically that this is rigorous. How will you know if they are doing well at their film, in their film course? And I promise you, one of the answers is, well, they will stay awake. And I said, well,
that would not be our answer.
Right.
And our answer would be that it is the joint responsibility, primarily falling to Mr. Reimer, but it is the joint responsibility of the Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership and the Associate Superintendent for Academics to ensure, one, that the course content is rigorous, be Mr. McCoy's responsibility, and be Mr. Reimer's responsibility to ensure that the 14, now 15, high school principals are conducting, and their faculty in turn are conducting their courses in a rigorous manner. And I have no doubt that both of them are doing that.
okay. The final thing to that is when you think about making a bridge to something else, like the Fine Arts Center or Career Center or whatever, wouldn't you pretty much need to be a senior by the time you would get 6 English credits in?
So yes, and Mr. Wingate and I talked about that last time, that yes, while it's unusual for kids to go over to the Fine Arts Center their senior year, there are kids that do that, ending up finding later in high school they're interested in something, and so obviously they're not going to be able to complete, so to speak, but because they found the passion in junior year, as you talked about before, we do allow them to do that. It's rare occasions that it happens, but Mr. Wingate said this would be this actually contains several pieces of content that they do in their production class over at the Fine Arts Center. So it's kind of a mix between, it's called film criticism, but it actually, if you look at it, actually has production elements that they would teach at the Fine Arts Center.
And I don't suggest that any of these, if taught well, would not be engaging and relevant and meaningful. I just say that it's easier for this to grow into something that has not had that thoughtfulness in it, and I very much appreciate the answer that that's not going to happen here.
Well, and I think, too, and we've had discussion about this already, expanding some opportunities for students to take video production classes, because there is a huge demand for video production, particularly across social media platforms. And we really don't have that opportunity now, but in a very limited way. And that's something down the road, maybe at some schools, we want to look at. Now, it would be purely an elective course, but that would translate very directly into employment opportunities. I mean, you know, we have the ability, when we talked earlier about Launch GVL and paid internships and those sorts of things, we have the ability to employ and engage those students directly within our own communications department, but we don't have a good course that matches up with that. And in fact, we've had two interns in communications from one from Woodmont, I don't recall whether south side. Anyway, we've had two already, but we could very quickly engage students in video production across social media platforms. And that's also a big opportunity for internships out in the community. So this might well be, or help to be, a precursor to that. That's an approval for a different day, but we wouldn't seek that under English. This is sought under English because that's where it fits in the state program.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. O'Connor. Ms. Goodwin-Kawa.
Yeah. On that crafts 3
Yes, ma'am.
class, can you explain to me what that is?
So I would liken it to an exploratory class, similar to what we did in career exploratory. So the kids in that class are going to explore a variety of different mediums of art. So anything from fiber arts is a big part of that. So again, could be a gateway class to Fine Arts Center Fiber Arts program, possibly, depending on when they take that in high school. But it's basically an exploratory class for arts that gives the kids the opportunity to work with multiple mediums.
Okay, I see that it's crafts 3. So craft, and it says that it's for 11th and 12th grade.
Yes.
And it would still be an exploratory class?
I mean, exploratory.
Is the art teacher going to be like a facilitator? Because it says that it's the individual exploration of specific crafts.
So they have,
areas.
so they have, the teacher is, I wouldn't say facilitator, the teacher still, she is facilitating, she's teaching in there, but the kids do at that level of art, of crafts 3, they actually do have the opportunity to, similar to I don't want to say a senior project, but similar to go deeper into, if your area is fiber arts, you want to explore deeper, then your project, your class project at the end might be that you're working on yours on fiber arts.
So this is like a project-based class?
It is very hands-on project-based, yes. All those classes are typically, yeah. Yeah, very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goodwin-Kawa. Anyone else? Okay, Ms. Wells.
So just this whole process with these innovative courses, what happens if we've approved an innovative course and you guys decide that it doesn't fit? Do you guys just have it, can you take it off the course catalog without us taking action or doing anything after you send it to the state, or is it?
Yeah, it actually doesn't go to the state, it lies locally here. And we routinely, to I think Dr. Ball O'Connor's question, we routinely go through courses every 2 or 3 years, look at which ones have not been used in the last 2 or 3 years and retire those courses. So that's very common for us to do, but nothing goes to the state because they're local board approved.
Okay. So we could get a list of the current active local board approved innovative courses?
Yes. Yes. I'd have to figure out how to distinguish between, yes, I think I can distinguish between state and local board approved courses, but yes.
Okay, and it's good to know you guys are kind of reevaluating.
Yeah.
I would imagine as you shift the opportunities that you might add, you might
Yeah, we can drop
redirect
any of
kids into some other.
Yeah, we can drop any of
Yes.
these at any time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, no, I'm joking. Gonna beat this little rascal to death here. Okay, Dr. Crystal Ball O'Connor, it is your birthday. We're gonna.
I wish I knew this, but do we have a studio art class? Do we have a class named studio art?
There is studio art, I think. Now, there's 8,000 courses in the catalog, so I'm just going to preface this. There is a studio arts class at the Fine Arts Center. I'd have to look to see if there's a studio arts class at the high school.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking is if there isn't, I'll just throw out the fact that if that is in fact what is happening in a crafts class, but you want people to know this is in fact an arts class, and if it were named something that shows the connection to the arts curriculum, like studio art or something, just a suggestion.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anything else? It's your birthday.
Not a crafty type. I will put that out there.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing no one else, we have a motion on the floor to approve the proposed local board courses as presented. All in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed, the motion carries. At this time, 5.02, right-of-way for road improvements at the new Fountain Inn High School. I'm going to, before we do this, I'm going to refer to Dr. Royster.
Thank you, Ms. Levinus Wells. There was some discussion and some questions about that at the Committee of the Whole. One of the things that we told you that we would do would be insert a reverter clause in the agreement. We inserted the reverter clause. It's been communicated to DOT. We thought it would be back tonight, is not yet back. So we would request that the board act to remove that from the agenda. And as soon as it is available, we will put it back on the agenda. It is not so time sensitive that it's holding up the project. Thank you.
Ms. Grayson?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to refer this item back to the administration for further review.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you so much. At this time, 6.01, Internal Auditing Services Project Status Report. Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We're presenting our monthly status report of projects that we're working on, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Barber? Mr. Barber, you did such a great report. Hearing none, Mr. Barber, this is information only, so we are good to go. Thank you, Mr. Barber. At this time, 7.01, Committee Liaison Reports. Mrs. Goodwin Caldwell, you have something for us.
Yes, with it being February and Black History Month, I wanted to bring you some information about some Black history. How many of you know who Dr. Carter G. Woodson is? I'm an educator, so I'm going to ask some questions. Anybody raise your hand? Okay, I'm going to tell you who he is. Okay, we owe the celebration of Black History Month and, more importantly, the study of Black history to Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Born to parents who were former slaves, he spent his childhood working in the Kentucky coal mines and enrolled in high school at age 20. He was taught to read by family members and put himself through high school. He graduated from Berea College in Kentucky in 1903 and later went on to earn a PhD from Harvard. He was hired to teach English in the Philippines and studied Romance languages through correspondence courses. After returning to the U.S., he began teaching at Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C. In 1912, he earned a PhD in history from Harvard University. He was the second African American to earn a Harvard doctorate. Woodson was an active promoter of Black education. The scholar was disturbed to find in his studies that history books largely ignored the Black American population, and when Blacks did figure into the picture, it was generally in ways that reflected the inferior social position they were assigned at the time. Woodson was always one who acted on his ambitions. He decided to take on the challenge of writing Black Americans into the nation's history. He founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, now called the Association for the Study of Afro-American Life and History, in 1915, and later he founded the widely respected Journal of Negro History, the Associated Publishers, and Negro History Bulletin. In 1926, he began promoting Negro History Week during the second week of February to bring national attention to the contributions of Black people throughout American history and to celebrate the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, two men who greatly influenced the Black American population. In the 1960s, it became Black History Month. Americans have recognized Black history annually since 1926, first as Negro History Week and later as Black History Month. What you might not know is that Black history had barely begun to be studied or even documented when the tradition originated. Although Blacks have been in America at least as far back as colonial times, it was not until the 20th century that they gained a respectable presence in the history books. And that is your Black history fact for this one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any more reports? Yes, Ms. Wells?
I just wanted to say thanks to the board members that were able to go this past weekend to our annual conference. If you're like me, there were some great sessions. There's a lot of great information. I was the one that I was in that I felt like had the most potential to be a game changer is one that was presented by the principal of Easley High, and it was a partnership that they have with Prisma Healthcare to provide a mental health first aid course to their students. So it's an 8-hour class that they volunteered to take to help them recognize signs of trauma and distress in those around them, and then to understand what the resources are. So it's not therapy, it's not counseling, it's just helping them, just like you would in a regular first aid course, is to help them see when something's going on with somebody, know what questions to ask, and then understand what the resources are that they can connect them to. So the Easley High principal did a phenomenal job of presenting this, was very passionate about it, had his own experience of losing a student that made it really compelling for him to do something, and just really exciting. I've already hit up Dr. Royster to make sure we try to find out why Prisma Healthcare is not doing that in Greenville County for us too. But it was a great talk that I heard that was really moving. And then I heard some great phrases by one of the keynote speakers. I hadn't heard this one. I've heard, we don't want them to sit and get. He said, don't drill and kill. So make sure when you're out walking around your school, share that one with your students. The other powerful thing I heard was, he said, poverty is not a learning disability. So we talk all the time about how we have to help kids overcome poverty, but I think even for us, we have to remember that poverty isn't a learning disability, and it does not define and does not limit what their potential is in a student. So just a little bit of inspiration that I got this weekend. And so if any of the rest of you have anything in particular that you heard that was compelling, I'd love for you to share it now, but if not, then maybe at a later date.
We had great speakers at the conference, very motivational. Keynote speakers were excellent, as well as I don't think anyone left the conference on Sunday for the last session, because he was very inspirational and he was right on target with everything he said about motivating, innovating, creating, and making it happen for our young people. So it was great. I would also like to, if you are interested in attending the National School Board Conference, will you either text me or call or see me after the meeting? I need to know. It's in Chicago, okay? So if anybody's interested, please let me know. I know there are two already, and if there's somebody else, please let me know. With that being said, now we will, any other questions? Anyone else? All right, at this time, financial report, 8.01, Dr. Royster.
Thank you, Ms. Levinus Wells. Before I turn to Ms. Stack, as a follow-up to Ms. Wells' comment, when we got back and checked with Mr. Rhodes, he actually already is engaged with Prisma. They are training adults in the district to become trainers in that, so he'd already engaged with them and taken the first step. Whether the people from Prisma were aware of that were down there or not, but obviously someone at Prisma is aware of that.
Thank you.
Ms. Stack, I do not believe has a financial report, but she stands ready to answer any question that you might have regarding the financial statements provided to you.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Stack? Really? How about that?
I've hit my allotment, so I'm going to be quiet for tonight.
Okay, hearing none. With that being said, I would love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chairman.
Oh, I got two. They're ready. Well, since it's her birthday, Dr. Crystal O'Connor.
To adjourn.
And then Ms. Bush, second. All in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed? Meeting adjourned, and have safe travels home, everyone. Thank you for being here.